Yeah, well, and I think two things. I mean, when I'm being paid to be in a ring and being aggressive, um, that's one thing. But I can outside of that, I can be compassionate, right? Like I can show compassion to other people. I can show compassion to other animals and living creatures. That doesn't stop me from when I'm being paid to compete in a sport to be able to turn that switch on and be cold blooded and be ruthless. I mean, I think that I don't know as a human I have that depth in me to be able to be both of those things. I don't think you have to be one or the other because they don't go hand in hand. And I think that's where the stereotype is. Where people get it confused. Um, it's like anything else. You're a football player. Again, I keep going to NFL football, but I had a cousin who played in the league. But on Sundays for those 3 hours, you're a warrior. A lot of those guys after those 3 hours are done, they're family men. They're giving back to the community. They're big teddy bears. But when they're on the field, they're warriors, and I'm the same way. When I'm in the ring, I'm a warrior, and I'm competitive. But outside the ring, I see the world a little differently, and I look at it differently than maybe we're taught to, and I have compassion and have connection to other living things, and I think about it.
So the growth of veganism, do you see it as a fad?
Uh, I don't think so. I think if we're smart, it's going to become part of our. It's going to become part of our culture. I don't listen. I don't think there's ever going to be a day, and I don't necessarily think that there needs to be a day where we're in a completely 100% plant-based culture. I think we're probably a few steps off the evolutionary chain before we get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're getting close to that moment. And
Sure.
I've talked about this for some years, where we had that moment where the tobacco industry finally had to kind of put their hands up and go, "Okay, you caught us."
Yeah.
And they had to admit that they had been lying and they've been holding back facts and they've been knowing very well what they've been doing to people and what their campaign was to hook young people and to create doubt that it didn't really kill people just enough so that people would continue to be hooked on this thing. We're
Sure.
getting very close to that with the corporate food system. And I think, again, this documentary, What the Health, is a great step in that direction. To where when they finally have to admit the collusion, they finally have to admit that we've been okay, we haven't been truthful, that people will start, I think, looking at food differently. And again, the market always goes where the money goes. And if the people
Mm-hmm.
stop buying the shit food and they stop buying the stuff that's poisoning them, then these big corporations will have no choice but to clean up their act and start making food that makes people healthy and start putting the money behind that. And that's going to be bad for the dairy industry. It's going to be bad for the beef industry. But it has to happen. And if
Yes.
everybody just curtails and changes their again, I talk about this in my book. I was raised, and a lot of people think about food in three ways. Do I like the way it tastes? How much does it cost? How fast can I get it? And
Yeah.
that's really now in society, that's how we think of food. At a certain point, I started thinking of food as how good is it for me? How much nutritional value do I get from my dollar? And where did it come from?
Yeah.
When you think of food in that way, people will start thinking of food that way. You're going to start seeing veganism. You're going to start seeing more plant-based foods start to become the norm. I hope, because we can't continue going the way we are. We're sick as we've ever been. Our foods has been as bad as it's ever been. We're as uneducated about it as we've ever been. And the people who are basically feeding it to us have more money, have more political power, and have more influence than they've ever had. Who's telling you milk does a body good? The milk industry? Well, of course they are. What are they going to tell you? Milk gives you cancer? Like, that's not going to be very good for promoting their product. Of course, they're going to tell you it does a body good. It doesn't do a body good. It never has.
Hmm.
You know, it doesn't help build strong bones. That's just it's a load of BS. But nobody questions it, because why would they tell you that when you're 4 years old and 5 years old? Why would you be told that in your schools if it's all bullshit? Why would they allow banners for it? Why would the governmental agencies tell me I should drink milk for good calcium levels for strong bones if it was a complete lie?
Sure.
That's hard for people to wrap their head around. Well, because in this country, in the United States, and I'm sure you may feel the same in yours, but we've given our government over to corporations. The
Yes.
government's in bed with corporations. They're making the policies based on the people feeding them money, and you can go look, and again, this documentary, What the Health, really lays it out, the amount of money and influence that these major corporations have on the very entities that are supposed to be protecting us from these products.
Career, you achieved so much with before you moved to WWE. I was just looking through you. You were world heavyweight champion. You were world tag team champion. You were 6 times division champion and Ring of Honor champion twice. Have I missed anything? I mean that's.
Oh, I mean, who knows? Who knows? There might have been sprinkled a few other things in there, but yeah, I've been very fortunate to, in the number of promotions I've been in to find my way to be successful in a number of different roles, and a lot of that's luck and just right place, right time, and the other is just I think really having a passion for what you do and working hard.
So why move to WWE?
I mean, listen, it's the biggest show on earth, right?
Yeah.
I've pretty much done everything else in my career I'd wanted to do. I pretty much had wrestled everywhere I wanted to go, and that was the last kind of the last frontier, so to speak. And early in my career, the opportunities didn't line up. Again, we say timing's everything. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and the opportunity finally came up, and it made sense. And I'm super excited to be part of the WWE family and just have this huge platform, worldwide platform to help entertain people and also help spread my message of plant-based lifestyle and just healthy eating.
Can you remember the first time you heard people calling you the spectacular vascular vegetarian or the most valuable vascular vegetarian?
I came up with those. The MV3 instead of the MVP. The MVP, the valuable vascular vegetarian. They're the spectacular vascular vegetarian. Yeah, and for some reason, spectacular vascular vegan. It doesn't sound bad, but it doesn't quite have the same ring as for some reason vegetarian roll better. But now I'm open to some new some new monikers.
There's probably more in the pipeline somewhere. Someone will think of someone. Yeah. Maybe we ought to run a competition.
Exactly. You know who my favorite vegan athlete is right now?
No, who's that?
Thea Trinidad. That's right. You do a little research on that. She's also she's an actress and also a sports entertainer.
Right, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. I might have had a small influence in her transition.
Wow.
To veganism. So.
Excellent.
Yeah, people can get the book at AustinAriesBook.com and follow me on my Twitter at Austin Aries and on my Instagram at Austin Healy Aries, and keep up to date with everything going on.
Excellent. I'm sure it won't be dull. You've got so much in the past, but there's so much to look forward to as well.
Absolutely.
And when's the title shot going to come, do you think?
Well, I don't know. We're going to find out. I just keep moving forward, keep whatever they put in front of me, knock it down, and then wait for the next opportunity.